Hey YouTubers, got a little bit of a different video here for you today. I received one of these Ryobi EZClean. It's a RY 120 350 VNM, I believe is the model number. I received this about 10 months ago. Used it once or twice and found it was handy and worked pretty well. And then I put it away for the season. Well, I got it out about, maybe a month ago or so. We had a warm day and I thought I'd use it, and it would barely pump any water at all. I mean, water would just drizzle out the end of the pipe if you hooked a garden hose to it. And if you hooked the input here to a 2-liter bottle like it's designed to work, well, it couldn't even get the liquid out of the bottle and out the sprayer. I called Ryobi, and that's the first time I've ever had a warranty issue with a Ryobi product, and they were awesome. I called them on the phone. I said, look, I've had this thing about 10 months, worked once. I go to use it 6-8 months later, does it work? And they said, no problem, we'll ship you another. And they FedExed me out a replacement unit. This is actually the replacement unit. Got here in just a couple of days, didn't cost me a thing. Best customer service I've ever had. And when you call on the phone, I got an actual person within a few minutes. I couldn't believe it. Anyway, they asked me to destroy or recycle the old one. So I thought, I'll do both. I'll take it apart. I'll keep the parts I think I might use for some other project. The rest of it I'll take to recycling. So in case you're ever wondering what's in here, well, first of all, you've got to get out a bunch of these teeny tiny little Torx screws. And some of these back here and back here are recessed very deeply. I have a bit that fits these, but I couldn't get it to reach down in there, so I had to improvise and use an Allen key. I had all of the visible screws removed and couldn't get the two halves to come apart, so I started messing around and I pushed down on this little label and I could feel an indentation there. And sure enough, underneath this label, there's another screw hole. I guess this is so if you tamper with it, they'll know, because you're going to have to peel off that label and probably end up destroying it, as I did in the process. And then this half comes off. Now let's see what's inside of here. Okay, now we've got a standalone battery compartment that's completely water sealed. I'll definitely find a use for this. I may be able to take one of my batteries and put inside of here and then connect these wires out to some other device that I'd like to power with the 18 volts. So I'll definitely be using some parts of this. Like I said, the Ryobi folks asked me to either destroy or recycle the piece, and I intend to keep some parts for myself and recycle the rest. Okay, we've got a trigger here, and this little part here is the trigger lockout. You see this little fin on the back of the trigger. When this is in the correct position, that fin passes through here and you can squeeze the trigger, and when this is in a different position, it blocks the trigger from going. So there's our trigger lockout. Okay, we've got a little micro switch here. When you push the trigger back, it clicks on that micro switch. You can see that. You can see also, moving the trigger operates a valve here. This is on the water inlet, and this way, if you've got a garden hose hooked up, no water is going to push its way through the pump and out the nozzle until you squeeze the trigger. So the trigger turns on the electric pump and opens the inlet valve. Now when this unit failed, the motor was running, it was making noise, but nothing was coming out the end of the nozzle. So I suspect there's damage within the pump. But I'm going to go ahead and break this thing down a little further so we can get a better look at everything. This entire pump assembly trigger, everything just lifts right out. All these pieces are simply trapped between the two halves of the unit and not held in or screwed down or glued down or in any way attached to either side. They're just trapped between the two halves. So as I say, this will go for recycling. And I'll keep the motor, the switch, and the battery compartment. I'm going to open up this pump. I want to know why it failed, but I don't think I'll get any salvageable parts out of the pump. So I'm probably going to just open this up from here forward and just see what the pump looks like. And the motor back, I'll keep these parts. I might repurpose them for something else. As I say, this is my first venture into Ryobi tools. I've used Craftsman tools in the past, but the Craftsman C3 line has been discontinued. Craftsman doesn't make batteries for them anymore, and several of my Craftsman tools were starting to fail. I looked at some of the more expensive brands out there and decided that was a little overkill for a homeowner like myself. Now, if I use these tools every day, I would definitely buy something more expensive of maybe even a better warranty. But I got to say, Ryobi's 3-year warranty is pretty darn good, and I've had very few companies I've ever worked with that gave me such awesome customer support. When I called and explained that this unit used to work when I first got it 10 months ago, I went to use it a couple weeks ago and it didn't work, they said no problem. They FedExed me this replacement unit, and just took me a few minutes on the telephone, and this arrived in just a couple of days. So Ryobi's customer service is second to none. And I'm very happy with my choice to go ahead and buy the Ryobi tools, and I look forward to getting more. Anyhow, I hope you found this interesting if you were ever curious about what's inside of one of these things. And if you did find it interesting or helpful in any way, please like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you.